Welcome back. Well, the NDA 3.0 cabinet in its first decision has approved financial assistance to construct 3 crore houses in urban and rural India. Sources tell CNBC-TV18 that the centre could spend close to around 4 lakh crore rupees over the next 5 years. Sources also tell us that a middle-class housing scheme for the poor may come up for a cabinet nod. To discuss this and more, we are joined by Mr. Rupinder Singh, the Managing Director and the Chief Executive Officer at India Shelter Finance Corporation. Hi, Mr. Singh. Good morning, and thanks a lot for joining in. Well, give us a couple of details first. How much of your loans fall under this PMAY scheme?
Yeah, very good morning. So we are purely affordable housing segment, which caters loan between 5 lakhs to 25 lakhs. And normally this is a segment which there is a focus of the government also, typically in the PMAY scheme. Last time PMAY scheme which came, we were able to pull up a decent number. Though on the EM side today, it looks a little lower, around 5-6%. But yes, that brings a lot of pressure around. So all these schemes which are largely impacting the affordable sector, which is tier 2, tier 3 markets, these are the segments which we are also operating into. So that's a focus area for us. That's an initiative which also government is taking along. And I think it's a right blending between us and the schemes which government provides.
So as a percentage of your book, it's around 5-6% PMAY? Mr. Singh?
Mr. Singh, you said that the last time...
I think the line is frozen.
Yes.
So we'll just have him back. We'll try and just have him back in a bit from now. But, housing clearly has been the big push. I mean, at least the first push, and we've been talking about this actually from last week, the middle of last week, how that seems to be the most natural, straightforward way to hand more money in the hands of consumers and sort of help out with regards to housing, both urban and rural as well. So we'll try and have the India Shelter Management back with us. Stocks have been doing well. This is, of course, the performance yesterday. Look at PNB Housing, look at Awas. Home First, I think, had a big 7% move. India Shelter was up about 5%. The company we were speaking with, and so on and so forth. Mangalam, I think we have him back.
Yeah, I think, Mr. Singh, you were giving us that number as a percentage of your total book. How much was to the PMAY scheme? And also, I think you were giving us a rough number. The 5-6% was the yield?
So 5-6% is the book space which we built under the PMAY, the overall book we did last. So these schemes...
Repatch that line. We'll just try and repatch that line. It's... we still can't get you clearly, Mr. Singh, out here, but definitely, as Prashant, you pointed out, but, for them itself, they have a target of almost 30-35% sort of loan growth in this year with a spread of almost 6% with a credit cost of around 40 basis points. So it's not that they haven't been doing well. Last year as well, their AUM grew by about 40%. So where they grow additionally from this scheme, which is announced, is something that will be more important. And even more so, will they have to have higher provisioning for affordable housing? And is affordable housing business itself more profitable for them? Because if the yield, as he pointed out, and if he inferred that correctly, 5 to 6% on that is a lot lower than what the other businesses would yield.
The other segment, I sometimes wonder, because if you think about it, all the real estate companies we speak to, they all tell us premium is doing fantastically. When was the last time we heard that the affordable segment is doing anything? Not a long while, right?
Yes.
I remember we had... I don't remember, I think it was PNB Housing or another company. They said, actually, there is no supply. Yeah. We want to lend, but there is no supply of actual physical real estate on the affordable side. So it's not being built. So, maybe all these schemes now, especially in the rural side, the Prime Minister's rural scheme, housing scheme, I think it will change that, both from a financier side and the the builder side as well. So we'll get you more, but we'll try and have Mr. The India Shelter Management back with us on the phone line. We had a patchy line there.
Mr. Singh, you had earlier said that, you were able to pull in a decent number with PMAY the last time. What are your expectations this time around? And can you tell us what that decent number was?
Basically, last time this scheme when came into picture, that has created an entire aura about the affordable housing segment. This affordable housing segment particularly is a very new sector with having a vintage of not more than a decade or so. So around 8-9 years back when this came up, it has pulled up entire sector over and bring the roller coaster effect to the business running around in the affordable segment, particularly in the financial services in that segment. Many new companies arrived and quite a few got listed also in a recent time, last 3-4 years. So this scheme is always good beneficiary for the end customer, for the dispenser companies like who are purely focused on this particular segment,
Right.
and making sure tier 2, tier 3.
That's about the macros. That's about the macros, Mr. Singh. What we want to know is how much did you in particular get from this scheme the last time? What proportion of your book comprises of loans under PMAY?
So if you see among the housing segment, what we do, we are maintaining around 60% of our housing portfolio. 40% remains the loan against property. Whatever the 60% we created in housing, almost 10-12% was under PMAY. Even today, we are maintaining around 5-6% of the customers still exist under the PMAY. Those schemes are now run over around 2 years back. So that is the status today, and it has been already effective in engaging the new set of customer, bringing the traction around in the business particularly. So scheme was always a lucrative like that, where the end customer gets the benefits, and we being a dispenser around.
So, Mr. Singh, what this does is this basically, if your disbursement growth was X, this push will basically make it higher. That rate of growth will be higher. That's what it does broadly.
Yes, it definitely does. It's two things. It's multifold into that. One is this growth comes just because these schemes run around. Plus, in market also the traction comes around that side. So you'll find a lot of new activities start running, whether the new builders start getting focused around that piece. So overall ecosystem start getting an impact around that side. So it is not only around the scheme alone, it's giving you impact. Since overall ecosystem start getting an impact.
Absolutely.
Overall number gets impact around that side.
Got it. Could you, I know this is very early and, but we've reported, and I'm sure you've seen some of the numbers that we've put out. Could you tell us if this is formalized in the budget as many are expecting? How could this change your numbers for FY25? What is the delta here that we're looking at broadly? I mean, ballpark, and we won't hold you to it.
So point is, any delta that is always welcome around that side. But I believe that any these kind of scheme which becomes creates a positive mode around that side. Easily you can say 10-12% of delta can get any of the company. I'm not talking about India Shelter alone, but any of the affordable housing company can get a delta on that side. That's a benefit we can get from these kind of schemes. Still, it has to come in the right shape, right picture. Government is very gung-ho. For the first 100 days of the budget, they are looking for something. We are looking something around that side. If it comes in a right shape, right form. And even if it continues the same fashion it was what it was earlier, it is still going to give a hold on the better deltas around that side.
10 to 12% delta is what we can, not just you, but you're saying housing finance companies can expect. And just very quickly, Mr. Singh, compared to the last time how it was run, was there anything which needed change, which you think should change, which will help it better, the scheme better, run better?
So few things into that piece. One is the ticket size basically, which obviously now the cost of construction has gone up. Land rates has gone up. Typically, these schemes cater for the cost of construction side. If the end customer gets a benefit around that will be quite helpful in that side. And secondly, when the money has to go to the end customer, there is a certain gestation period. If it can be reduced further, that can be quite beneficial for both end customer as well as the vehicles like us who are driving these kind of schemes.
Okay, all right, Mr. Singh, give us an idea about how the yield is. The yield on this part of the book, what is it? And then you'll be getting something from the government as well. So put it together, what is the blended yield on this part of your book?
So any government schemes which runs through NHB, typical affordable housing segment, they give around, spreads of 5-5.5%. That comes in that format. And automatically then there is some difference which goes back to the customer in some form, basically. So ultimately, end customer, they get a, decent in terms of the rate cuts in those things. And it lands up to the level of the primary customer. So there doesn't remain much of the difference between the primary affordable housing customer when these schemes are done properly.
What happens to you? What is your net realization or yield on a scheme like this?
So we have observed that, it's a 5-5.5% of spreads we maintain around these kind of schemes, basically.
All right. Thanks a lot for joining in and giving us all those details. 10 to 12% is the delta, incremental delta that you can get from, something like this if the scheme does get announced in the budget. And currently about 10 to 12% of your housing loan portfolio comes in from this scheme with a yield of around 5.5%.